Hey guys, Bigfoot here. Just got back from the Bounty Waters. Tested some of my gear out while I was out there in the northern woods and wanted to let you guys know I am making another change to my cook setup. So I had a chance to put some things to the test this last weekend. As many of you know, we were up in the Bounty Waters for about 3 days this last weekend over the 4th of July weekend, and really kind of found out some things, what worked, what didn't. Every single time that I do these hikes, every piece of gear that I take with me out there has been tested on the trail, typically multiple times, just to make sure that it works, it makes sense for me, I'm comfortable with it, and I can kind of eliminate that whole learning curve that some gear has. So that's what I did with this cook setup. So as you guys know, my cook setup that I talked about last week was bringing the Vargo titanium bot and then the Triad stove. Well, the Triad stove, I know many of you commented on this, and I found the same thing. It was really difficult to light. And the reason why I ended up going with an alcohol stove, I know some of you guys were asking about that, is I was kind of planning on cooking most nights, but maybe not every night. And I didn't really want to carry a lot of extra fuel. I didn't want to carry the weight of the canister itself with bringing a canister, which I know is not a lot of weight, but it's like 3.9, 4 ounces if I wasn't going to be cooking a ton. And this just seemed to make sense with just trying to kind of stay light. But this is not going to be practical, even though I know I'm going to have time at camp while I'm setting up. That's when I'm going to be doing my cooking, so I can really multitask. But this really wasn't practical, so this will come on another adventure sometime. And what I decided to go with is my BRS stove. If you're familiar with the BRS stove, I'll do a review of this when I get done, but I've had this stove for probably about 1.5 years. It's really small. This is the entire stove itself. It weighs 25 grams, which is just under 0.9 ounces. I think it's like 0.88 ounces. And I have probably used this maybe to boil water, I would say maybe 80 times, and I've never had any issues with it. And yeah, it's just been a great stove. I've been really happy with this thing. It's made of titanium and brass, and it's actually really durable for how small and lightweight that it is. So this is going to be the stove that I'm going to bring, 0.88 ounces. Then I'll bring the smaller canister. If I boil water where it just gets to the point where it just starts boiling, I typically can get about 12 to 14 burns off of this thing using a windscreen, of course, but 12 to 14 burns off of this with boiling 16 ounces or 2 cups of water. So I could literally eat dinner every night and breakfast every morning if I wanted to. So I am going to pair the small canister stove or small canister with my BRS stove. Again, 0.88 ounces. And the nice thing about these, by the way, they're like 15 bucks. I mean, they're nothing on Amazon. I'll put a link to everything. The only downfall about this is it takes a little time to get to you. It's shipping from the other side of the world, and I think after I ordered it, it took about 2 or 3 weeks in order to get my BRS stove. So if you're in a pinch and need something really fast, you might not be able to get this in time. Now, as far as the titanium bot is concerned, I really enjoyed this. This actually worked really well for me this last weekend. I just love the ability that I can go and fetch my water and then seal this up, get into camp and start boiling it. If I want to throw my food in here and start hydrating it as I'm hiking into camp, I can do that as well. Whereas all of the other pots that don't have a water seal, you can't do that. I know it costs me a couple extra ounces, but I'm cool with that. And if I want to, I can use this as a water bottle, which is kind of nice. So if I want to treat some water, because it does, with the way that I'm doing my water on the trail, I'm going to be using Aquamira. So I'll have to treat it, which takes 15 minutes. So if I do come across a really good water source, and sometimes you come across some water sources that are really cold, colder than others, well, I might want to get some extra water. I might not be done with my other leader yet, so I do have an extra option if I so choose. So I like having that. And again, for the couple extra ounces, I think it's worth it. So my entire cook setup is going to consist of my Vargo titanium bot, which, by the way, you can get this in a stainless steel version. It will weigh 2 more ounces, but will cost you about a third what you're going to pay for the titanium version. Of course, I got my little mini Bic lighter, my canister stove, and then my BRS camp stove. So that's it. This will be my cook setup. Just as a point of reference, fuel is not considered a part of base weight. Haven't talked a lot about that because I was stoveless on the AT, but this will be not considered a part of my base weight when I do my gear overview here next week. Well, that wraps up, guys. Tomorrow, stay tuned. I'm going to drop the video of my ultralight sleeping pad that I have chosen. And then next week, Tuesday the 11th, I will announce my ultralight sleeping quilt. And then Thursday the 13th, I'm going to announce my entire gear setup, overview of everything I'm bringing on my upcoming FKT attempt of the Spear Hiking Trail. That is going to amount to about a 6-pound base weight. Thanks, everyone. Stay tuned for all of those sightings coming up here. And remember to always follow Bigfoot.